Attorney General Merrick Garland. Live coverage on C-SPAN.
Hello and welcome to King's Gun Center TV today. We're going to be streaming live over YouTube as we're waiting for comments and remarks from the guy that's in the White House right now. Here he comes out right now. We're going to be listening to a little bit and commenting on what he's going to talk about when it comes to gun violence. Here is the
Good morning.
Vice President.
Over the course of my career, I have seen gun violence up close. I've looked at autopsy photographs. I've seen with my own two eyes what a bullet can do to the human body. I've held hands with the hands of parents who have lost a child. I have seen children who were traumatized by the loss of a parent or sibling. And I have fought my entire career to end this violence and to pass reasonable gun safety laws. Time and again, as progress has stalled, we've all asked,
Reasonable gun
what
safety
are we
laws.
waiting for?
Reasonable gun safety
'Cause we
laws.
aren't waiting for a tragedy
There are
to
hundreds and
come
hundreds of laws right now on the books for gun safety, and this is just a straight attempt for them to steal our Second Amendment rights. And do not mistake this, guys. Do not mistake this for what it is.
want action. Real people on both sides of the aisle.
No, not on both sides of the aisle.
So all that is left is the will and the courage
Courage
to act.
to violate our rights.
And President Joe Biden
Oh, I hate
has
that word.
the will and the courage to act.
Yeah, to violate our rights. Here we go, guys.
As a United States Senator, Joe Biden took on the gun lobby not
For
once,
120
but
years.
twice, and he won. In 1993, he worked to pass the Brady Handgun Violation
Another
Prevention
huge
Act.
violation of our rights.
This law established a background check system and has kept more than 3 million firearms out of the hands of dangerous people.
Dangerous people.
A year
Good
later,
Americans
he
is what it
worked
is.
to pass another law to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines for 10 years. And as Vice President, Joe Biden led the Obama-Biden administration's efforts to reduce gun violence. In fact, we were just reminiscing that he and I talked back then about his work because I was Attorney General at the time of California.
I remember when Obama said, if we can just save one child from gun violence. Well, if we had a one-person thing on everything, we couldn't do anything. We couldn't drive cars. We couldn't do anything like that.
President Joe Biden is a leader with great will, great determination, and even greater empathy. He has seen the grief of all of those who have lost a loved one to gun violence. It is for them, for all of us, that he will never, ever give up on this
What's up, bud?
fight. And it is now my great honor to
It's
introduce
live right
the
now. I'm going
President
live
of the
on the-
United States, Joe Biden.
Okay, here he comes, guys. Let's see what happens. I'm not looking forward to what's about to happen.
Thank you, Kamala, Madam Vice President. Thank you very much. You know, we're joined today by the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, who I've asked to prioritize gun violence. It's also good to see the second gentleman who is here, and it's good to see the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, who cares deeply about this issue as well. And I look out there and I see so many
You there,
members of
Doug?
Congress who've led in
Yeah, I'm
this
here.
fight.
All right, we're
So
on.
many of you who've never given up. So many of you.
We're
are
live on YouTube.
We are live on YouTube, and we are talking to Dougie Fresh on the phone, and myself here. And now here comes, what's that guy's name on that comedian that does all the mannequins?
Not just the gun crisis, but
Oh,
is actually a public health crisis.
He looks just like him.
Nothing I'm
Jeff
about to
Dunham.
recommend.
Yeah, Jeff Dunham's
in any
dummy's
way
up there on
infringes
the screen right
Second
now.
Amendment. They're phony arguments suggesting that these are Second Amendment rights. It's
Phony arguments, Second Amendment rights. Oh my God.
No amendment to the Constitution.
Can you hear it?
is absolute.
I can
You
hear it,
can't
but I
yell
don't see
crowd,
it on
you
YouTube.
can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater. We call it freedom of speech. From the very beginning, you couldn't own any weapon you wanted to own. From the very beginning of the Second Amendment existed,
Oh, no.
certain people weren't allowed to have weapons.
No.
So the idea is just bizarre to suggest that some of the things we're recommending are contrary to the Constitution. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic.
Just like knife
Say it again.
violence is in Europe right now.
Gun violence in this country
Democrats.
is an epidemic.
And Democrats.
And it's an international embarrassment. You know, we saw it again last night as I was coming to the Oval Office. I got the word that in South Carolina, a physician
Oh, here we
with
go.
his wife, 2 grandchildren, and a person working at his house was gunned down, all 5. So many people of the people sitting here today know that well, unfortunately.
Oh
People
no.
die of,
You know,
of stuff every
They
day,
know what
dude.
it's like
Every day.
when the second.
Do you remember when, I want to bring this down here real quick. Do you remember when
Had the
Obama said if we could just save one person from gun violence?
getting to meet an awful
Yeah.
circumstance.
You know, if we used that rule for everything, we couldn't do anything. We wouldn't have pools. We wouldn't have
Exactly.
cars. We wouldn't have,
Children.
you know, we wouldn't, you couldn't rock climb. You couldn't do anything.
They know
Just
what
like that
it's
meme I
to
told you about,
bury a
like
piece of their
when the SWAT
soul
team went to the
deep in
lady's
earth.
house. We're here to get your
We
car,
understand
ma'am.
that.
Too
Yes.
many DUIs.
Mark and,
Exactly.
And Jackie, I want to tell you, it's always good to see you, but not under
Let's
these
see.
circumstances.
You can
I
hear
wanna
his
say
audio
before
right now,
I
right?
Introduce the rest of the folks.
I can, and his
Is, you
voice
know,
just makes my
What a
freaking
lot of
toes
people
curl.
have not been through,
I know.
what they've been through, don't understand. It takes a lot of courage to come to an event.
When he
like
gets to about the
this.
5-minute mark, he'll start falling
They're
apart. We'll see.
Absolutely.
You know, the
determined
thing.
You
to
know,
make change. But Mark and Jackie, whose son Daniel was a first grader in Sandy Hook Elementary School.
everybody's streaming this thing right
Oh.
now.
Loved sports,
We're bringing
loved
up Sandy Hook
outdoor
now?
sports, getting
Oh,
like-
Sandy Hook. That means it's wide open. We can start
See my
talking about it now, huh?
friend Fred Gutenberg. His
He brought it
daughter,
up, bro.
Jamie,
Yeah, he brought it up.
freshman.
Hey, he brought it up. So let's do a show on Sandy Hook. See what happens. See if they ban him for bringing up Sandy Hook.
I
Yeah.
see Brandon Wolf, the shooting at the
I just find
Impulse,
it so
at the Pulse
convenient
Club,
that we
not
just had
nightclub.
2 shootings,
He
and then all of a
survived,
sudden,
but
Yeah.
his
we're
two
talking
best
about
friends
banning.
died.
And he wants to do it
Barrels
by
and
presidential
trips.
order,
He was
not
just
by
walking down the
congressional
street when he was
approval.
caught in the crossfire of a gunfight.
Yeah. This
And
is
of course,
This is an
So
abuse of
all he's
power.
doing right now is talking about all the reasons why he is going to violate the Constitution. That's all he's doing right now.
here,
it's
who
treason.
was speaking with her constituents in front of a
You
grocery
can't
store
do
in her state.
an executive order to override the Constitution.
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. That is a
That's what he's
that,
doing.
They're here.
that is a congressional duty, and it is the Supreme Court's duty to make sure that the law isn't violation of the Constitution.
Hopefully many of you don't know is you've gone through a trauma. No matter how much you work to make sure others don't go through it, every time you show up at an event like this, it brings back when you got that phone call.
Oh God.
It brings back the immediate.
So now he's trying to say that everybody that's been a victim of school shootings and violence
Yeah.
relives it again when there's another one.
Thank you for having the courage.
He's trying to touch the hearts of America.
Courage to
Do you remember when
continue
that
this
father was up on Capitol Hill telling them not to have gun control, even though his kid was killed in that school 2 years ago?
Courage, so thank you.
Yeah, he was pissed. He's
Yeah.
like, maybe if the
Pain and
teachers would have had a
purpose of the
gun,
man that
they could have saved my daughter's life.
Exactly. Exactly.
Enough.
Oh, here he goes.
Enough. Enough.
Oh, come on.
Because what they want you to know,
This is
They want you to
unreal
do
what
it.
they're trying to
Not
do to us
just
right
listen.
now.
every day in this country,
Slowly chiseling away.
316 people are shot every single day. 106 of them die every
How many people
day.
die of DUIs per day?
Our flag was
Exactly.
still flying at
How many people
half-staff
die in pools
for
per
the
day?
victims of the horrific
How many
How many
people
people-
die of, the
Shark-
McDonald's
shark attack
disease?
in Georgia.
Exactly.
when 10 more lives were taken in a mass murder in Colorado?
There it comes.
You probably didn't hear it, but between those two incidents, less than 1 week apart, there were more than 850 additional shootings.
Yeah.
150.
Yeah, and all of them in Chicago,
Arrived
Detroit,
more
and
than
Atlanta.
250 people
Yeah.
and left.
I guarantee none of
500
those were
500
legal gun
injured.
owners.
And I guarantee you, he
This
will
is
be
an
mentioned today, the
epidemic,
gun
for
violence
God's
inside those
And
big
it has to stop.
communities
What
They
about
never talk about
Washington-
that.
What about
Two
Washington,
things.
D.C. by itself?
by itself.
The steps we're going to take immediately. And second,
Uh-oh, here it comes.
the action that needs to be taken going forward to curb the epidemic of gun violence.
Okay, here it comes.
I asked the Attorney General
Uh-oh, another
his team
great
to
libtard.
identify for me immediate, concrete actions I could take now without having to go through the Congress.
Oh, God, I hate that.
Today, I'm announcing several initial steps my administration is taking to curb this epidemic of gun violence. Much more need be done, but the first
He must have got
first,
his
want to rein in the
IV this morning of all of his
so-called
go
ghost
juice
guns.
because he seems to be holding on a little
These
bit
are
longer than
guns
usual.
that are homemade, built from a kit, that include
stayed at a Holiday
directions
Inn
on how to
Express.
finish the firearm.
Here it
You go
goes.
buy the kit.
So no
They
more
have no
kits
serial
to build
numbers.
your own.
So when they show up at a crime scene, they can't be traced. And the
Oh, he's
buyers
talking
aren't
about ghost
required to
guns right
pass a
now.
background check to
Yeah.
buy the kit, to make the gun.
He wants to require a background check to buy parts for your
Consequently,
AR-15.
Anyone from a criminal to a terrorist can buy this kit.
Come on,
as
keep
little
scaring
as
us, guy.
30 minutes
Come
to
on,
put
keep
together
scaring us.
a weapon. You know, I want to see these kits treated as firearms.
See, he wants
Gun
serialized
control
parts.
Act,
I knew it.
which is
California's
gonna
trying to do
require
that, and now
the
he's trying to
seller
do
and
it.
Manufacturers make the key parts.
No, he's not trying.
With
He's doing
serial
it.
numbers, and run background checks on the buyers when they walk in to buy that
The parts.
package.
I knew that was coming.
The second action we're going to take, back in the year 2000, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms released a report on its investigations of firearms trafficking in America. The report was of pivotal value. It was an important tool for policymakers when I was in the Senate and beyond. at
Yeah,
all
do you
levels.
remember the Fast and Furious stuff that
Stop
his
firearms
administration
from
did?
being illegally
Yep.
diverted
He did it
into
on
dangerous
purpose
hands.
to make gun violence worse in America.
Online sales and ghost guns, times and trafficking methods have changed, and we have to adjust.
The
We
American
also have
people
to
need
ask
to
the
quit
Justice
being
Department to
scared
release a
and
new
let them
annual
slowly
report.
take away
This
our
report
constitutional
will
rights.
better help policymakers address.
He doesn't understand that
firearms
online
trafficking
sales
as it is
still have to go
today,
through an FFL.
not what it was
They still have to go through a gun shop. Just
third
because they're sold
thing,
online doesn't mean they can ship it to the
We wanna treat
person.
Pistols modified with stabilizing braces.
Okay,
the
here it comes.
seriousness they deserve. A stabilizing brace.
They're talking
shaped
about the
pistol
SIG brace.
Essentially, makes that pistol a hell of a lot more accurate and a mini rifle. As a result, it's more
Give me
lethal,
a break.
effectively turning it into a short-barreled rifle. That's what
Now
the
he's saying
alleged shooter
SBR.
in Boulder appears to have done.
That's what that dude
I wanna
used
be
in
clear.
Boulder.
Yeah,
These
the Syrian guy
modifications
that
of
they pushed over the
firearms
top.
to make them more lethal.
Yeah.
Should
by
be subject
bombing
to the
his country.
National Firearms Act. The National Firearms Act
How
requires
many people are killed every
the
year
potential owner
from
pay
Joe Biden's
$200 fee and
administration?
submit their name.
Yeah, how many
And the
people
Cl-
during
and
the
the-
Clinton administration were killed
Yeah,
per
the
year
Clinton
because of the Clintons, right?
administration.
They would if they went
And the
out and
Obama
purchased a
administration,
silencer.
those need to be
Uh-oh, here we
banned.
go. Suppressors.
Fourthly, during my campaign for president, I wanted to make it easier for states to adopt extreme risk protection order laws. They're also called red flag laws, which everybody in this
Oh, here we go.
knows,
Snitch
but
on your
many
neighbor.
people
Snitch on
listening
your
do
neighbor.
not know. These laws allow
Snitch on your
police
neighbor.
or family members
Bitches get stitches,
to
bro.
petition a court in their jurisdiction and say, I want you to temporarily remove from the following people any firearm they may possess because they're a danger and a crisis. They're presenting a danger to themselves and to others.
Who's going to
And the
deem
court
that?
makes a ruling.
No, I know.
Put this in
What happens is you're going to get some
More than
nosy
half of all
neighbor
suicides, for example,
because they don't like you
involve
turning you
using a
in.
firearm. But when a gun's not available, an attempt at suicide, the death rate drops precipitously.
Yeah.
Precipitously?
States that have red
That's a big
flag
word for
laws
him.
have seen the reduction.
When was
in
the last
number
time
of
you heard about
suicides in their
a
states.
celebrity killing themselves with a
Every
gun?
single
Here it goes,
month,
guys. Our gun rights are under attack right now by presidential order.
53 women are shot and killed by an intimate partner. I wrote the Violence Against Women Act. It's been a constant struggle to keep it moving. We know red
Right.
flag laws
Struggle
can
for
have
him to say
significant
words.
effect in protecting women from domestic violence.
There's already
No
laws in
red flag
place
laws
when it comes
can
to domestic
stop mass
violence.
Shooters
This
Why
just
do we need more?
really
act
makes me
out their
angry
violent
when
plans.
they talk about taking away our
I'm
parts of our
proud,
Constitution.
excuse the point of personal privilege we used to say in the Senate,
Unreal.
I'm proud that the red flag law in my home state of Delaware was named after my son, Attorney General Bo Biden, our son, excuse me, Joe,
Oh,
who proposed that legislation back in 2013. I want to see a national red flag law.
you know, he's going to
and
states' rights
legislation
again.
To incentivize states to
Yep.
enact their own red flag laws. Today, I asked the Justice Department to publish a model red flag legislation so states can start crafting their own laws right now. Just
Yo,
like with background
once they want
checks,
get a
vast
state, a
majority
federal
of
standard that
Americans
states can
support
copy
these
is what they're talking about.
Extreme risk protection order laws. And it's
What
time
happens
for
when a
the
state
could-
like
they could
Georgia or a
basically
state like
deem-
Tennessee won't do it? Are they going to force them to do it?
Attorney General will have
You
more
could
to
deem
say about
anybody
this
a
in moment.
threat and go in and take their guns.
Additionally,
Especially if they're part of these
cities across
hate
the
groups
country
that they're
are
talking about that aren't hate groups at all.
and homicides,
Oh, we
as the
saw
law
on
enforcement
Facebook
can
that,
tell
you know, you're a
The
patriot.
violence
We think
is
you're a
hitting
threat.
black
We're
and
going to take your
brown communities
guns.
the hardest.
Yeah, patriots are going to be the first one persecuted for
Is
this.
the leading
Yeah.
cause of death of black boys and men ages 15 to 34. The leading cause of death.
Yes, but you do nothing about it.
But there are proven strategies that reduce gun violence in urban communities.
Oh yeah,
There are
uh-huh.
programs that have demonstrated they can
Like in
reduce
Chicago
homicides
right
up
now
to
with 40 shot
60%
last weekend.
in urban communities. But many of these have been badly underfunded or not funded at all of late.
That's Obama's hometown.
Gun violence in America, for those of you who think of this from an economic standpoint listening to me, estimated to cost the nation $280 billion. Let me say it again.
Billion.
$280 billion a year.
Let me say it again.
You say, how could that be, Joe?
Yeah.
Hospital bills, physical therapy, trauma counseling, legal fees, prison
It's so
costs,
hard for me not to cuss
and the
right now.
loss
I know.
of productivity.
I know.
Not to mention the psychological.
We're talking
damage
about
to the
criminals
children
here.
who live in these cities, watching this happen, knowing someone it happened to. This gun violence in their neighborhood is having profound impact,
Oh, he means it. He hit the
even if they're never involved.
the podium just now.
Pulling the trigger,
Did
Yeah.
or being the victim of on the
Was
other
it
side of it.
precipitously?
For
Precipitously.
a fraction of the cost of gun violence.
A fraction of the
we can
cost.
save lives,
We can save lives.
create safe and healthy communities,
Create safe
and build
communities.
economies that work for all of us.
Oh yeah.
Just give up your
Right.
freedoms.
And
That's all we
save
ask.
By taxing us out of
Give
our
up your
minds.
freedom.
Dollars.
Give up your rights.
Yep.
In the meantime,
Yep.
much of it as
Those who give up their rights for a little bit of safety
Taxpayer
deserve
money.
neither.
Exactly.
finally
Finally,
the Bureau of Alcohol,
alcohol,
and Firearms,
alcohol.
the key agency enforcing
Archibald.
gun laws,
Yeah.
hasn't had a permanent director since 2015.
They're not a permanent director.
Today-
Today,
I'm proud to nominate
he's nominating.
David Chipman.
Okay, got to look up
serve
David
as
Chipman
director
now.
of the AFT.
Yeah,
David
he's
knows
a
AFT well.
ATF
He
agent.
served there for 25 years.
Okay.
And Vice President Harris and I believe he's the right person
I'm surprised he didn't say President Harris this time.
for this important agency. And I've said before, my job, the job of any president, is to protect the American people. Whether Congress acts or not,
God, he does look like Jeff
I'm gonna use
Denham's
all the
dummy, doesn't he?
resources at my disposal
Just
to
like him.
Keep the American people safe from gun violence. But there's much more that Congress can do.
No, there's
Help
not.
that effort.
Yeah, they can release all these
They can do it
stupid
right
gun
now.
laws.
Make every state
Arm-
constitutional
They've offered
carry.
plenty
Make every state
Nobody-
constitutional carry,
Yeah.
and you'll have a very friendly state because
Passed not a
nobody
single new federal
knows
law
who's got a
against
gun.
violence.
Look at our county.
Enough
A lot of people have
prayers.
CCWs,
Time
and
for
yes, we
some
have some
action.
gun violence, but not as much
I
as
believe
most
the Senate
places.
should
No,
immediately
not at
pass
all.
3 House-passed bills to close loopholes,
Close loopholes.
allow gun purchasers to bypass the background checks.
Okay.
The vast majority of the American people, including gun owners, believe there should be background checks before you purchase a gun.
Just like when you purchase a refrigerator, huh? You need a background check to purchase a refrigerator.
Hundreds of thousands of people.
You know?
And you also
denied
need a
guns
COVID vaccine
because of the
passport.
background.
Yep, you got to get your COVID vaccine passport before you can buy a gun.
These bills
Yeah.
I'm surprised that's not in here.
require background checks for anyone purchasing
probably
a
is
gun
in the fine
at a
print.
gun show or an online sale.
Online sales go through background checks. Every one of them has to go to an FFL. Wake up. Quit lying to the people.
Background check. But you go to a gun show, you can buy whatever you want and no background check. Second thing is to close
Not necessarily.
what's known as the Charleston loophole. Like people here, I spent time down at that church in Charleston. What happened is someone was allowed
The Charleston shooting
to
now.
get the gun used to kill those innocent people at the church service. If the FBI
Did you
Has
see
it-
those dudes that
didn't
were in there
complete
though
the
that were
background check
carrying
within
and they
3
shot the
days.
guy in the head?
Oh yeah, that one guy was like a national hero. That long
Well,
shot.
in 3 days, according to
That
the
dude
Charleston loophole,
stood up with
you
his
get to
gun
buy
or
the
came in
gun.
with his gun. They took him out.
They
Yeah,
got the gun and killed
absolutely.
a lot of innocent people.
I mean,
Invited him to pray with them.
It just goes to
And
show that
three,
more people with
And
guns
three.
we
are better than
authorized the Violence Against Women Act,
people without them.
Violence Against Humans Act.
so-called
Close.
the boyfriend and stalking loopholes to keep guns out of the hands of people found by a court to be an abuser and continuing threat.
Okay, so now we're going from domestic violence to
I held
abusers.
over 1,000 hours of hearings
Abusers.
to pass the Violence Against Women
So
Act.
if you're considered an abusive person,
One thing
but
came
not a
through.
felony or misdemeanor domestic violence
If, in
person, now we're
fact,
going to upgrade that to a.
stay away
We consider
order.
you an abuser, so you can't have it.
An order
How do you make an abuser law?
preventing the abuser from coming in a certain
Abuser.
distance.
They have restraining orders for that right
He
now.
has abused or she is
Yeah.
abused.
They have restraining orders for that right now for
Now,
abusers.
The
I
idea that they can
don't
own
understand
a
what they're
weapon
talking
And
about.
we
They're
have
talking in
laws
circles.
order
against felons having guns
saying
too.
they are an abuser.
Yes. Now, in many states,
These
if
are
you're
some of the
selling a
best
gun to a
tools we
private
have
party
right
from a
now
private party, you don't need a
violence
background
to
check
save
because the
lives.
background check was done the first time the gun was
All these
sold.
bills
You know,
had support of both Democrats
in many,
and
most
Republicans.
states, it's that way.
And
They're
universal
trying to
background
do
checks are
every
supported by
gun
the
every
vast
time, just like in
majority of American
California.
people.
And what a hassle
And I
that
might
is.
add, the vast majority of responsible gun owners.
No. Quit talking
me
for
be
me.
clear.
You quit talking for
This
us.
is not a partisan issue among the American people.
Oh, yes, it is.
This is a view by the American people as an American issue. And I'm willing
No.
to work with anyone to get these done. And it's long past time that we act. Now, I know this has been a hobby horse of mine for a long time.
Hobby horse.
Got it done once. We should
He's
also
talking about
ban
Kamala?
assault weapons and high capacity.
No,
magazines.
yeah, really, huh? He's talking about the Gun Rights Act of, what, 86 or whatever
For
it
that
was.
10 years we had it done.
Back in
the
'86
number
when he
of
was
mass
60
shootings
years old.
actually went
Yeah.
down. Even law enforcement officials
No. Yeah,
told
in the
me
big
and
cities.
told other champions of this legislation, they sometimes feel outgunned by assault weapons with large capacity magazines.
Oh, now he's going to talk about the
There's no
LA
reason
shooting, right?
Someone needs a weapon of war with 100 rounds, 100 bullets that can be fired.
Oh, here we go.
that weapon.
Magazine capacity now?
Nobody needs that.
Oh, just, you know what?
Nobody needs that.
Just the only people that need that are people that are
We
afraid
got
of their
that
government.
done when I was
over-
United States
Nobody
Senator.
needs a motor over 2 liters in their car.
But it's safe.
Who
Yeah.
needs to go that fast?
And we should also
Exactly.
eliminate gun manufacturers from the immunity they receive.
Oh, here it comes. Oh,
You realize
it's going to put every gun store out of business. It's going to put every gun distributor out of business. It's going to put every gun maker out of business if he does what he's talking about right now.
But what most people don't realize, the only industry in America, a billion-dollar industry,
No.
that can't be sued,
No.
has exempt from being sued, are gun manufacturers.
Quit lying.
Imagine how different it would be had that same exemption been available to tobacco companies, who knew and lied about the danger they were causing.
So let's
the
sue
cancer.
every
So
car
he's blaming the
manufacturer
gun
for every
manufacturers for the
automobile.
violence in America.
Yeah, let's
This is
sue
the
every
only
car
outfit.
manufacturer now too.
That is exempt
Exactly.
from being sued. If I get one thing on my list,
Oh.
the Lord came down and said, "Joe, you get one of these."
Oh, now he's making it biblical.
The
Because I
Lord
tell you
does
what.
not talk to that man.
There would be a come to the Lord moment these folks would have real quickly. But they're
This
not.
guy needs to be impeached.
They're not. They're exempt.
Oh, that's the one thing.
I know that the conversation about guns in this country can be a difficult one. But even here, there's much more common ground than anyone would believe.
Yeah,
No,
in
there
your
isn't.
world, not in our world.
Everything that's being proposed today is totally consistent with the Second Amendment.
No, it's not.
There's a wide consensus behind the
No,
need
there's
for
not.
action.
There's no wide
I know
consensus.
that when overwhelming majorities of Americans want to see something change that will affect their lives, and it still doesn't change, it can be demoralizing to our fellow citizens. It can feel like our entire political process is broken.
No.
I know it's painful and frustrating that we haven't made the progress that we'd hoped for.
Yeah, for liberals and for progressives and for the
5
world
years
order.
to get Brady Bill
Crybabies.
passed, and
Oh,
it
here
took
goes
even
Brady
more
Bill.
years to work to pass the assault weapons ban, and it saved lives. No matter how long it takes, we're
Yeah.
going to get these passed.
Yeah.
We're not going to give up.
I know they're not going to give up. They're going to keep on trying to violate our Second Amendment rights constantly.
To keep our people
And our First
safe.
Amendment.
And
Yes.
in the process, we can show the world and show ourselves that democracy works.
Democracy. This is a representative republic there, Tiger.
This
Get
This
it
is a
right.
Dictatorship.
When I
What,
look
what you're
around
doing
and
right now is
see
a dictatorship.
Such brave survivors sitting out here in the Rose Garden.
I'm
Public
bypassing
servants who
Congress.
devoted
That's a
their lives
dictator.
to
Yep.
dealing with this.
Bypassing Congress.
Advocates who feel strongly and are pushing every day to.
He's the
make
executive
drastic
branch.
changes.
Let the legislative branches
Courageous
take
parents
their
and family
turn.
members.
Because he knows
I
that
know
the
the
Senate's not going to
progress,
pass any
even
gun
in
laws
this most
because
difficult
there's
of
too
victories
many gun states.
So, folks,
This is just
just the
a
start.
great example.
This is just a
Got a
start.
lot of work to do.
Special interest groups
but I
paying
know
off
almost
the
every one
president.
of you sitting in the garden here. None of you ever given up. We're not going to
Oh.
give up now.
This is ridiculous what they're
idea
doing.
That we have so many people dying every single day from
Yes.
gun violence in America.
From drunk drivers,
Is a
from
blemish on
speeders,
our character.
from
Drug
unattentive
overdose from
driving,
Big Pharma.
Let me
kids
say to
falling
all
in
of you,
pools.
God bless you.
Big
but
Pharma's
most
killing them, and we can't even do.
importantly,
Hey, didn't they just
all
exempt
many
Big
of you
Pharma
lost
from
their
any
senseless
liability?
gun violence.
Yeah, for the
And
vaccine.
now I'd like
Oh,
to
that's
hand
a
it
good
over to the
thing.
Attorney General
And how many people have died
for
from that
him
already?
to speak and make some comments.
The new
Hope I get
Attorney
a chance to
General.
See some of you after this is over. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whatever. Look, man, everything he talks about that doesn't apply to them, because they have armed guards, they have security teams. They're going to leave us out to dry.
They're not worried about it.
Mr. President,
They just want to take away our ability to protect ourselves.
we stand here today.
Here it is.
Not at a moment of tragedy, but in the midst of an enduring tragedy.
Oh, here it goes.
So far this year,
You know what? I don't really
guns
care.
have taken the lives
Give
I don't
me a
want-
break.
Look, man, this is just another attempt for them to bypass the Congress and bypass the Constitution to try and force gun laws down our throat. A lot of the things he talked about were lies today, including the gun show loophole. There is no such thing. If you buy a new gun at a gun show, it has to be taken to an FFL, and they do the background checks right at the gun show.
Yeah. So where's he getting his information from?
He's not. He's making it up. This has been their little rally cry for a long, long time, where they are going out and they're trying to make us think there's a problem out there when there really isn't a problem. But in their world, they want to make everybody like California. They want to
We
make
called
everybody.
this months ago when we said that they were going to have, there's going to be some sort of gun shooting or gun violence across America.
Yep.
And then they're going to try to capitalize on it. We called that before it even happened.
Absolutely.
And then look, it happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's been all of these false flag events coming out, and this is them putting out there right now after a couple of shootings, including a Syrian and including a mentally deranged guy. Come on, guys. There is over 400 million guns in this country. There is more guns than people in this country. You're going to have to absolutely step on the throats of every single gun owner to take it away. And this cannot happen. This
Why do you think our own
cannot
government
happen.
hasn't taken over and putting us in concentration camps yet? Because they know that we can defend ourselves. But the day that we can't defend ourselves is the day that we lose everything.
We lose everything. The Second Amendment is there to protect every other amendment. And the overreach of government should be put in check. This is a country of the people and by the people, not of the cabal that is running the world right now. And that's all they are doing, is doing the bidding of the world market right now.
When you're instituting laws against our amendments, that's treason. This president needs to be impeached.
100%. 100%. But then again, we have a bunch of Republicans up there in Congress that have absolutely no spine.
They want to make it to where we can't have voter ID. They want to take away our gun rights. They want to crush our First Amendment. They're doing everything they can to subdue us.
And then the corporations are right behind them here. You know, just like what happened with the voter ID law in Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they pass a law that the government doesn't like in a state, then the government gets all the corporations to back up. So now you got Coca-Cola going out, leaving, or doing whatever they're doing. You've got Delta trying to leave the Hartsfield airport there in Atlanta. You have all these things, and
Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball.
All-Star game left.
Yep, because now what happens if you don't get along with the Democrat line, the corporations now get in behind them and then try and do more. But you know what? You know what Georgia just did?
What?
Georgia just pulled all the tax incentives away from Delta Airlines at the Hartsfield Airport.
Good.
Jackson Hartsfield, okay? You know, because, okay, you want to play games? Watch this. We'll play games too. And they yanked all their tax-exempt status and all their property tax, reductions and all that stuff. They took them all away.
Good.
You know? They're going to do the same thing with everybody else that is pushing back on voter integrity. We call it voter integrity. They call it voter suppression. We call it voter integrity. They call it voter suppression. You have to have a driver's license to drive, right?
Yes.
What happens if you go to your doctor's office and you don't have your ID card with you?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We can't help you.
What happens if you go to the bank and you don't have your ID?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We can't help you.
Oh, yeah, that's right, huh? You know,
What happens when you go to the polls to vote? Nothing.
No, nothing. Nothing. What happens if you go to the
Sure, you wanna-
airport without your ID?
You want an extra ballot? Here you go. How about two?
Exactly. It's the same thing going on right now when it comes to the way they try and pass laws is they try and pull on the heartstrings and they try and bring up all these things like Sandy Hook again.
Yeah, they're digging deep.
They are digging deep right now. And, you know, it's funny how this Colorado shooter, the story's gone. It's gone.
Story's gone, but they're talking about the grip he was using.
Yes. But they're not talking about the reasons why he did it.
Exactly. Let's just take away the gun. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. There's T-shirts and bumper stickers. Like, every idiot knows that.
If there's a white extremist out there that does something stupid with a gun because he's mental or whatever, they're going to, I mean, if there's a white guy, I should say, just a normal white guy, like the congressional shooting, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to paint him as some kind of a white supremacist and all this other kind of stuff, right?
Like always.
But when it's a Syrian guy over in, they initially come out with that first story that it's a white supremacist that comes out and does it. It's unreal how they lie. Because the people only hear that first headline. They only see that first headline. Then they kill the story, and they don't do anything to.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous what they're doing.
Even when they retract a story, nobody cares. They just remember what initially was told because first impressions are what matter.
First impressions is all people hear, and they don't hear the retractions afterwards. So just know that when that Colorado shooting happened, it was at a little shopping center there. The guy is a Syrian immigrant right after we bombed Syria.
Yeah.
Go
His
figure.
Name is
Exactly. So once that came out, I swear they packed up their vans, they packed up their cameras, and they got out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Unreal what they're doing, and I just don't understand why people. I don't understand why people don't pay attention, because it's not hard to pay attention.
If you knew that every cashier at a grocery store had a gun behind the counter, and every person working somewhere in a restaurant, a grocery store, whatever, wherever you're at, if you knew that they had self-defense, you would think twice about going in there and trying to shoot them up because you know that somebody's got a gun they're going to shoot back at you.
Oh, I know. I get it. I do.
Why do you think people are afraid of the cops? Because they have guns.
Yes. And in states like Utah and in states like Texas and Arizona, where every other person's got a gun on them, you don't hear about this stuff. You just don't.
And if you do hear about a shooting, you also hear about the fact that a concealed carry individual fought back.
True, but you got to understand this. They don't publish that narrative.
Of course not, because it doesn't look good for them.
No, it doesn't look good for them at all. And so they don't publish a narrative, and all of a sudden now they are, if a CCW does something wrong, a guy that carries does something wrong, and he steps over the line or he does something stupid, that makes the front page of every newspaper, and it goes straight out to MSNBC, straight out to CNN, and then they ride that horse all the way till it's dead, right?
Yes.
But when a guy goes off and saves a cop's life that has a CCW, that's crickets.
Yeah, you won't hear anything about it. He won't be a
You don't.
national hero or nothing.
No, you don't at all. And I just don't understand how the government thinks that they know better than we do. The other day, we had a shooting in Hanford. Some jackwagon in a car driving by and spraying bullets out there at our local imaging center, right?
Mm-hmm.
How come we don't have any reports on why it happened? How come we don't have the information on the reason why it happened? And
Yeah.
I'm not. Oh, look at all that clapping. There's Kamala. Oh God, what a mess! What a mess!
Gun laws.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised she's not. Oh, wait. Maybe he's coming back up right now. Hold on.
See all of you. Thank you. Let's get to work.
Let's get to work. Let's get to work violating rights of every American on this planet. And
Yeah.
gosh, I'm just so tired of the way the government thinks we're a bunch of idiots. I just cannot.
Look at places like the UK. The UK, they've gotten rid of their guns. They've done a fantastic job at taking guns away from their citizens. But guess what happened after that? Freaking the numbers for knife attacks have skyrocketed.
Yes,
There's going to be people are going to find something to hurt other people with.
that is the case, and especially when the government suppresses and oppresses you, just like they've done with the people of color over the last 100 years. You know, we go and we go and free the slaves, and we go and we put all these affirmative action laws, and we put all these rules about race out there, but it just makes it worse. If we would just be Americans, we'd be fine. But they have to put us in boxes to keep us separate, because they know if we unify as the people, they're done.
They've done a really good job, especially this last year, with creating a humongous race war.
Yes.
They've backed BLM with probably at least $1 billion.
You know, Obama had 8 years to make it right, and he got it worse.
Yeah.
He would do nothing to try and improve race relations except for keep stoking the fire.
Even black people say that. They say, wow, we had a black man in the office, sitting in the seat, and he didn't do anything for black people.
Not at all.
Donald Trump did more for black people than Obama did.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, when it comes to sentencing and stuff and all those things that that he did for the black communities, including the enterprise zones, he did the legal system adjustments for different nonviolent crimes. He did a lot of things to try and help the black community, but yet they will not publish that. They will not let him take credit for any of that. And now
he made it to where historically black colleges got automatic funding every year, and they didn't have to beg and plead and get on their knees for it. And guess what Biden did?
he took it all away again.
Took it away and said, I need you to beg and plead again.
Yes. I just, they're in the middle right now of scrubbing the entire catalog of everything that Trump did. They want to absolutely purge our system of Trump whatsoever, when he was the best thing to happen to this country in a long, long time.
They're trying to erase his legacy from history. They don't want anyone to know of all the good things he did. They just want to try to paint him as the bad guy that incited some sort of riot on the Capitol, which he obviously didn't do.
Yeah. There is so many things that are working against the American people right now, and there are so many people that are wearing their face diapers that are getting their vaccine. I was over at DMV yesterday. Yesterday, I did a little post on my page, and I had to go
hate that
over.
place.
I don't know if there's a state that likes their DMV. I don't think there's a state that likes their DMV, but I had to go over there yesterday at 6:45 to get in line. And there was a guy there that had white hair. He's probably mid-60s. He had a ponytail, and he had a Biden shirt on. And I'm thinking, oh, this guy's got to be just a piece of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I almost took a picture of him. I almost did it, and I wanted to walk up to him because he was talking to the lady, and he was standing like 3 feet away from the counter trying to yell, and he had his face diaper on. And I actually had my little sleeve on, the little neck sleeve that does nothing. Does nothing to stop.
It's all for show, just to keep people from harassing you to wear a mask.
And what's interesting is they came out before they opened, and they had their little gun that does the temperature readings.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a mask on. I was the fourth person in line, starting at 6:30 in the morning, and they went and they were hitting the foreheads of all these guys with the guns. And I'm thinking, you do that to me, I'm gonna wipe that thing right out of your hand. So I didn't have a mask on in line because I'm outside.
Right.
And then the three guys behind me did, and then the fourth guy behind me didn't have a mask on. Everybody was there with their face diapers on, okay? They come up to the guy in front of me, and they wand him. And as she walks up to me, I look at her, I pull my sleeve up on my jacket, and I put my wrist out, and she scanned my wrist.
Good. Why should we be letting them zap us in the head with these things anyways?
I know. It's two things. First of all, we don't know what the long-term effect of constantly getting zapped in the head with an ultraviolet ray, right?
Yeah.
Second thing is, do you want a gun pointed at your head? Or are they just trying to condition us for what's coming?
Exactly.
I think that's what it is. I really do think that's what it is. And it's just one of those things where if you ever go into a hospital or you go into a government building and they have that little zapper or doctor's office, put your wrist out there. Don't let them put a gun to your head. Don't get conditioned to do that. It is just absolutely ridiculous what they're doing to us right now.
It is. They don't need to take your temperature by pointing at your head.
No. Yeah, but one of these days I'm just going to bend over and drop my drawers on and show them the brown eye. Take it there, right? Oh my God, the way these people are acting is absolutely stupid.
It's unbelievable. I hate the DMV. The fact that you have to go there and ask for permission to drive your own property on the roads that you pay taxes to drive on, and then you have to pay them to give you a piece of paper to say, okay, you paid. It's just ridiculous.
Did you see my post yesterday? The lady about 3 comments down says, because I said, gotta love how government works, is what I wrote on my post.
Uh-huh.
And she goes, the DMV is not the government.
Really?
Really? I'm thinking, oh my God. And my comment back to her was, man, I love this sarcasm. It's really refreshing is what I wrote back to her. Because that had to be sarcasm. It had to be sarcasm because the DMV is the definition of government on many scales, like efficiency.
How about the fact that the CHP works for them?
Yeah, they pay for the CHP, which is the government. They pay for roads, which is the government's responsibility. They pay for their own administration, which is, just a wasteful, thing. And understand something, okay? It's a job. I get it. And people work there. But there's not enough money in the world that would get me to work in that crap hole.
None. How about this? How about the fact that you have, like, our town, what do we got, 180,000 people?
In all of the county, we do.
Okay. And how many DMVs do we have in all the county?
Just Uno.
One, right?
Uno.
Just one DMV for 180,000 people. That is ridiculous. The fact that we have to go and stand in line for hours on hours at this place is absurd. There needs to be, if they're going to make us do this crap, make it easier. Have more facilities. Make online stuff easier. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. I tried to get what I needed done online, but they wouldn't let me. And I went over to AAA to go get a copy of my registration. They wouldn't let me.
If you don't get your registration renewal in the mail, you can't go online and pay it. You have to go stand in line for hours.
Yes.
And be like, hey, I get my registration renewal in the mail because I don't have your stupid little code or whatever that you need for me to punch in online, you know?
Yeah, no. I get it, but you know, I know this is wandering away from the gun topic at all, but there is so many holes in what he talked about. Let's real quick, let's just go over the things he talked about today. First of all, was serialized parts, and you cannot buy any part for any gun unless you go through a background check. That is
So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna
ridiculous.
do, like, barrels now?
Barrels,
Triggers?
firing pins, the triggers, the trigger assemblies, the parts kits for AR-15s. He wants those serialized and background
What
checks
about-
on
what about-
everything.
What about rosewood grips? Are we gonna serialize that too?
I think so. I think so. Or the rubberized grips and all those kinds of things. What about grip sleeves?
Yeah, and sights.
Yeah. What if you want to put a set of night sights on your Glock?
Yeah. So all this stuff's gonna be serialized, right?
Yes. And
You need to
then
know exactly
and
where
then-
it came from.
exactly that is impossible to do, and it's just going to make a black market. Is what it's going to do.
Hmm.
It's unreal. The more stuff they pile on top of guns, the more people are going to want to buy guns. And now that he's been on the TV today, I'm going to be out of guns again in this store. People are going
You
to
just
see
gotta-
this and freak out.
But you fit in too, didn't you?
Yeah, I just got a big shipment of home defense shotguns and a big shipment of Glocks yesterday. And
And you
they're
got
going to, and two AR-15s, two M&P 15s came in yesterday. Yeah. And what a mess. What a mess they're causing. And once again, me here at the King's Gun Center, I do not want to make sales based on hysteria and based on fear-mongering by the government or based on the death of a person. I don't. That's not my purpose. But now they're going to force it to happen like that, and now I'm going to be out of guns again. I'm not going to make any money, and it's going to be another 6 months of trying to get good guns for the people that want guns in Hanford.
Just think about how many people are. You're never ever going to stop criminals from being criminals. They're gonna start.
No,
They're always gonna shave serial numbers off of guns.
they're always going to do that. And just like you talked about in England, they banned guns in England. Now everybody's dying from knife attacks and strangulations.
Let's get rid of knives. Okay, now people are dying of baseball bats with nails through them and barbed wire wrapped around them.
Exactly, and those are
And they-
already on the books as illegal weapons.
It's just people are just going to move to the next best thing. You get rid of something, you put your finger in the barrel, and then the water's going to squirt out another hole.
Exactly. And you know, last I heard, homicide is illegal.
Yeah.
It's illegal. Oh my gosh, people. Oh my gosh. What is wrong with
The government never does anything to keep us safe. They do what they can to keep them safe and keep the people from taking over.
the second thing they're talking about is gun trafficking, and they're talking about the gun show loopholes and online sales. All right, gun show loophole and online sales. Now, let's talk about the gun show loophole. There is no gun show loophole. If you buy a new gun at a gun show, it has to be gone through a background check. That is federal law. What they're talking about is private party transfers. And it is not the law in many states to have those registered, although states do allow it to be registered if you do it. And they're not registered, they're just background checked. I'm sorry. Background checks to be done if you do it. A new 4473 and the federal document, and then you're done. So that's the other thing. And then he talked about online sales. Online sales, they're trying to paint this as people are buying guns online and getting them at home. And we have people that call the King's Gun Center all the time saying, hey, I guess I can't buy that gun. Can I send it to your store? And I say, well, it's not a California legal gun, so no, you can't. So anybody that sells a gun online must send it from an FFL to an FFL. They cannot just, ship it to my house.
Yeah, it's not like you're buying a gun off of Amazon.
Exactly. Well, yeah. And you can still get gun parts on Amazon, but I'm sure they're going to stop that crap right now because they're president. Their supreme leader, Mr. Biden, there is going to.
Come on. I'm sure we can all relate. Come on, guys.
Next thing is the third thing you talked about was NFA and suppressors. the National Firearms Act. So if you want a fully automatic firearm, you can get one in America. Yes, you can, but it takes a tax stamp that costs several $100s, and it takes about 2 to 3 years to get it approved. And they know who owns it, and they know where it's at. What's that?
Why is it such a long process?
Because the federal government is so efficient. And the backgrounds and all that other stuff. Now he went straight for suppressors, and many states have legalized suppressors for hunting. And they try and paint it. They try and paint suppressors as the ultra quiet guns, right?
Yeah.
They're not. They're not at all. And you know, it's funny because Hollywood has made this perception that when you put a little tube on the back of your gun, it makes it silent. And it's not. It just reduces the decibels. That's all it does. They call it silencers. That's not the correct word for it. It's suppressor. It suppresses. So if you shoot a 45 with a suppressor on it, it's going to sound more like maybe a 380. It won't have the big boom.
And that's still loud.
It is. If you put I mean, you can go buy 22 quiets. They're these little tiny 22 rounds for your rifle, and that sounds like a pellet gun.
Yeah.
You know, that's very, very quiet, but it's a 22 for goodness sake, right? So people think that you screw that thing onto the barrel and all of a sudden you have this pew, pew, pew. No, it's not like that at all. It just brings the volume down, so you don't need to use hearing protection. You don't need to, if you're outdoors, it's not as bad on your ears. And when you're out hunting, it doesn't resonate for 2 mountain ranges away when you're shooting a rifle, you know?
What's next? Are they going to start banning action movies?
Yeah. Number 4 is well, no. They're going to make it even worse with action movies by making it even more lying more about what the guns are capable of doing, right?
Yeah.
Every shot seems to land.
You never have to reload unless you're John Wick. He always reloads.
Yeah. Well, he's the 3-gun shooter.
Yeah.
He practices with Terran Tactical to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, that does not do anything for gun owners because it scares the Democrats so bad that people can do that they're going to be even more apt to want to take our guns away from us. It is just odd how they're doing that.
It's like, okay, so what if we get rid of all guns and more people start learning Brazilian jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts, and somebody gets killed from one of those techniques? Are we going to ban martial arts in America next?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, at what level will this government stop trying to keep us from protecting ourselves?
Yeah. A healthy fear of its population keeps government in check.
Yep.
And that they've already got the voter fraud thing down. They already know, and that's why they're so mad at Georgia. And that's why they're so mad at what they're doing in Florida right now. And we hope to get somebody from Florida on here in the next couple of days. I got to talk to my buddy about a big interview we have coming up. But voter fraud is rampant, and they count on it to stay in power. Count on it. There is no reason over in Marin why people aren't fed up with Nancy Pelosi, or over in Alameda, San Francisco area. There's no reason why they're not fed up with her. She is an old bat that is so pickled from everything. Remember her ice cream freezer?
Yeah.
How many people live like that?
And remember when she blamed the salon for setting her up?
Yeah.
Coming in not wearing a mask, when her own boy Gavin Newsom had a mandate that you can't go inside any place and get anything done, and she went in and got it done.
Sure. I've heard about term limits for these people, and trying to get national term limits on Congress and on the Senate and House, right?
Right.
And I've heard the backside of that thing too, because they said, do you really think that these legislators write these laws, or their little cronies and all the lobbyists write these laws? And a lot of these people, they just sign off on whatever their staffers build. But I have a feeling that if people were there, that people weren't bored out of their minds with what's going on, right? They would pay attention more. but they don't. And if we had term limits, I believe that people would pay attention more. People wouldn't let their staffers write this stuff. They'd do it themselves. They only have 8 years to get it done. You know what I mean?
They would listen to their constituents, like Valadeo.
Yeah.
Did he ask anybody in his jurisdiction what their thoughts were about impeaching Trump or the Dreamers or the what's that?
The Border Dreamer Act. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he ask anybody how they felt about it before he went and made his little vote? No.
No, because that was his gut talking to him. Once again, hey, tonight, don't forget, tonight is the big rally at the Civic Auditorium. I've got my generator out. I was testing it this morning. We're going to have a sound system out there, and we're going to be Chris Matisse and a bunch of farmers are going to gather there and talk about what the government is doing to farmers and water in this state. Tonight, 6 o'clock at the Civic Auditorium in Hanford. I'll be out there. What's that?
And who's Chris Matisse again?
Chris Matisse is running against Valadeo, and he's got my full support because I am sick and tired of what Valadeo is doing to us and the way he is not listening to the people that got him into office. I'm sick of these politicians thinking that they know more than us, and they don't. We need to put people in Congress that have a backbone that can look at a Democrat square in the eye and tell them to go shove off.
Exactly.
And once again, if nothing gets done in Congress, not a problem with me, because every law they pass seems to make it worse to live in America.
Yeah, why do we need to keep on making more and more laws? We need to be taking away some of these stupid laws.
It seems like they just keep on adding. Now Trump did have a administrative reduction act that he did, where federal governments had to bring down the amount of policies and regulations in every department. That was part of what he did. It was really cool what he did. But now that's all gone away because we have a stupid people that want bigger government and people that want government to rule everything we do.
How about this annual tax that businesses have to pay every year by April 15th of $800?
Yeah, if you're an LLC, it's $800 a year to California to be an LLC.
Yeah, so most of these businesses were shut down and they still have to pay that $800.
Yes, absolutely they do. I already paid mine this month.
God, it's insane the amount of taxes and levies we have against people that are just trying to make a living, the laws that they're trying to implement against our Constitution. They're doing everything that they can to just milk us for everything we're worth and then to make us as docile as possible.
I can't even file my taxes for the King's Gun Center this year because they can't figure out how to write the tax code yet for 2020 because of all the stimulus money that was flying around and all that stuff. California wants to tax it on it when the federal government says you cannot tax it.
Of course, California wants to tax it.
Yeah, and so they haven't made a decision on that, and they're going to try and sneak it over on a Friday where they're going to tax it all, and then everybody's going to get double dinged on it now.
That's just outrageous. That's insane. We need something. We need politicians that are going to take care of the people. How can we just keep on sitting around and letting this happen?
We can't. And that's why the King's Gun Center and that's why Rebel Radio Now is on the air, because we are sick and tired of just being quiet. We are sick and tired of just lying down for this government, and we must figure out a way to start getting back control of what we are doing here in the country. And it starts with the recall of Gavin Newsom, and hopefully we can get somebody in Sacramento that can start unraveling what is happening to our rights.
And hopefully it's not Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, I heard that last night. I about came out of my chair because last night Waking Up the Neighbors was in our studio and they were interviewing Sarah Steffens. And she is, I think from Santa Barbara area.
Yeah, she's out there, coastal.
She's out there on the coastal region. She said San Diego a few times, so she may be from the San Diego region. But we were listening to her last night, and she is a very, very good 2A person. She's very good about personal rights. She's great about the economy. She's great about all those things. But she does not have statewide visibility. She's only good in her little part of the world.
Yeah, nobody out here even knew who she was.
Nobody.
I saw her on Facebook and asked around, and that's when John and Jeff with Waking Up the Neighbors, started piquing their interest, and they got a hold of her and did that interview with her.
Yeah, and it was a great interview. It's up on our Rumble channel now. It'll be on our webpage in just a little bit because they want it put out everywhere they can put it out. And so at the end of the day, Jeff and JD had a great interview last night, and we hope that we get more candidates like that. But I really don't see anybody that we've interviewed so far. And I'm not trying to say that we have the secret eye on this election, but everybody's counting on, first of all, low voter turnout, and then everybody thinks they can get that +1 vote. And there's going to be a couple big ones out there coming that, you got Kevin Faulconer, you got John Cox, you've got this Caitlyn Jenner thing that's happening now. You got all that stuff that's happening right now. And I just hope.
I'm afraid that the Democrats are really going to back Caitlyn Jenner because it's just going to be another puppet for them to use, just like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
They want to find somebody who, and you just think about it, Caitlyn Jenner is a transgender, comes from a family with probably the most popular family in the world.
Oh yeah.
With their social media and their TV shows and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, it would not surprise me one bit if you saw all these Democratic kids in college and all that stuff voting for Caitlyn Jenner just to see a transgender woman as the governor of California.
Sure.
It would not surprise me one bit.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be crazy. Finally, wrapping up, the final thing he really talked about was everything he talked about today, including liability to the corporations. Right now, if somebody goes out and runs over somebody with their car intentionally, you cannot sue the car dealership. You cannot sue Ford. He makes it sound like it's the only company in the industry in the world that protects itself. All right.
Yeah, and it's not.
If they get rid of the protections for corporations for unintended use of their, let me turn off my notifications on my phone right now. Hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, yeah. If they do this, then every gun store is closed because do you know what my insurance rates are going to be per year?
Oh, it's going to be astronomical.
I pay $18,000 a year at the King's Gun Center for insurance. $18,000. That's a lot of guns I got to sell.
Yeah.
People don't understand this, why we have gun pricing and why we don't do all these discounts and all these things, because just my insurance alone is $18,000 a year. If they get rid of protections for guns and for automotives and for all those things, could you imagine if a guy's going down the street drunk and he runs over a little baby? It's going to be horrible, right?
Yeah.
The family will be able to sue the dealership that sold it, the dealer that sold it, the automotive company that built the car, because of a drunk driver, because they should have known that drunk drivers are going to drive cars.
Well, how far are we going to go with going up this chain? Are we going to go? What about the bank that gave that dealership the loan to start their business? Are we going to sue them too?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or what about the bank that had the loan on the car?
Yeah. Let's just sue everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It is insane the way they're trying to position this thing as.
How about we get back to personal accountability? How about we just hold the people that caused the problem accountable instead of, a gun manufacturer or a car auto manufacturer? Let's just start looking at the people that are making these bad decisions.
Exactly. I don't understand why, except for the fact that they got to keep on doing their mockingbird, right? They got to keep on talking the talk. They got to keep on their talking points. I guarantee you every Democrat out there right now has their list of things they want to say about gun control, and they're going to hit it for the next 2 weeks. That's all they're going to be talking about is exactly what the Democrats are telling them to say. Exactly what they're telling them to say.
And you know what's going to happen? Then you're going to have Republicans come out, and they're going to start speaking against it. And then guess what the Democrats are going to do to those Republicans? They're going to demonize them. They're going to try to create some sort of sex scandal.
You don't care about women and people of color, do you? You don't care about them at all.
They're They're going to call them racist. They're going to, just like they're doing with Matt Gaetz right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
we don't know if he was involved in some sort of sexual encounter with a 17-year-old prostitute. I don't know Matt Gaetz personally, but what I do know is that he's been very outspoken against the Democratic Party, and they're putting a lot of focus on this, and it's what they do.
Everybody that talks against the Democrats has a target on their back.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's true or false.
No.
If people hear it, like, oh wow, that's bad.
Yeah.
We don't like that guy anymore.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I tell you what, I'm to the point right now where I just don't want to stay silent anymore. There you go, guys. There is the President of the United States wanting to take away your Second Amendment rights and wants to slowly. You know, I was talking to a guy the other day. I think I was talking to my preacher the other day. We're talking about in the world of business, right?
Uh-huh.
If you're on a sand hill and you just stand there, you lose ground.
Yep.
You lose ground. You continually slide downhill if you're on a sand hill. So if you're on that sand hill, you have to continue walking. You have to continue fighting to go up that hill. And Republicans are on that hill right now, and they're just standing, which means they're losing.
Yep. Their feet are just sinking into the ground. They're sliding down the dune.
They're sliding down the dune, and that's what's happening right now in our country. And I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired of the people that
Stop giving up. People are giving up. We don't have any fight, it seems.
Yes, and they don't want to be interrupted because they want to see their Disney Plus. They want to see their Netflix. They just want to tune out and not pay attention. And don't get me wrong, I watch Netflix, and I just watched that stupid the Falcon and the Winter Soldier thing with my wife. That's time that I spend with my wife, so that we don't have to obsess all the time on politics, because I don't want to be that guy at home, but I do want to stay in touch with what's going on. But I'll take some time for myself and my wife.
Do you know what I've noticed about Republicans is they like to complain and moan and groan a lot, but they don't do anything about it, and they also don't care about an issue unless it affects them. And then until it actually affects them, then they want to get up and be all mad and be in outrage. But when you have people like us that are bringing these issues up before they get worse and saying, hey, we need to fix this, we need to focus on this.
Yeah.
People tune it out until it's in their backyard. And then they're like, how come nobody told us about this? Well, why don't you go ahead and thumb back a few months and see when we were talking about this and you decided that, exactly watching your Hulu or Netflixing and chilling was more important than getting out and helping us, save our country,
Yes. Yeah. Don't interrupt my kids' baseball practice for this.
You're not going to have a kid's baseball practice to go to.
Nope.
If you let the government overreach with their COVID passports and standing in lines and, taking away our Second and First Amendment. Before you know it, we're only going to be allowed to do what they say we can do.
If you like your way of life right now, or the way it was back in the 90s or even in the 2000s, we have to start fighting to get that back, because it is gone. Gone. I tell you, anytime I see somebody in that stupid Bernie Sanders shirt yesterday, I wanted so badly to walk up to him, because he looked at that gal and she goes, "Is everybody here vaccinated?" And the gal said, "No, we're not all vaccinated." Well, they should be.
Was it a Bernie shirt or a Biden shirt?
Bernie.
Okay.
The guy with the ponytail. And I wanted so badly to walk by and go, "Hey, I don't have the vaccine. And you know what? My vaccine you can shove up your ass." That's what I wanted to say so badly, but I didn't. I just don't want to confront people. I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that person. I just hope that, I hope that people start waking up and a lot more people get active in this thing. Don't forget, on Monday night is our Conservative Coalition meeting here at the King's Gun Center. We're going to have it in our archery range that night, because we have a big CCW class, people exercising their Second Amendment rights here in the store. And we can get up there and we can start being active in our own counties. And we highly recommend that you do some coalition stuff in your own counties so that you can get bigger groups of people to go get the message out to everybody else in their circles. If we can start putting the message out there, we can start winning back this state. But it's going to take a whole lot of time and a whole lot of work to get that done. And we must be unified in this matter. Hey, you know what? We've been on for quite a long time. I want to thank everybody on YouTube Live today. YouTube Live was on our regular channel today. We didn't do it because this was a gun issue, and I wanted my gun people to find this. And it's been a great day, and we hope you enjoyed it today. You can always catch us at Rebel Radio Now. This will be up at Rebel Radio Now in just a little bit. We hope that you enjoyed our session today, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel here. You can go to our Facebook page, Rebel Radio Now, and you can also go to all of the podcasting sites and subscribe there too. You guys have an absolutely fantastic day, and thank you for coming along for the ride. Have a good one.